I'm independent.
What does that say?
International Association of Press Photographers.
Who do you work for?
Nobody.
What are you going to do with the pictures? Who are you going to sell them to?
I'm not going to sell them to anyone. I'm just photographing.
Why?
Because it's pretty interesting, considering a usual slow day in McKinney, to have this happen. One of my contacts let me know.
Honey,
What?
From here, are you?
Actually, yes, honey. I am from Texas.
Well, then you would know that this is normal when things
It's
are not
normal for this crowd of people to be here on a Saturday morning?
to be here.
You what?
Saturday morning.
You what?
I said there's a reason for us to be here.
I respect that. I'm not. I don't understand. I'm choosing my body, my choice to wear a mask. I'm out here photographing an unusual event.
Yeah, but what's the motivation of your heart, sir?
The motivation of my heart is an interesting story that I enjoy taking. And this is a public space. Everyone's allowed to be here.
That's right.
I'm allowed to be here.
That's right.
But if you were really interested, you'd be listening to the speakers.
I haven't. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
While you're taking pictures,
Rebel.
you're not asking anybody any questions. You're not engaging with people, so you have some kind of motive. You're not listening.
So if I ask questions, I don't have a motive? That's really bad.
No. I said all you're doing is taking pictures. You're not engaging with people, and in an interview type press way. No, I have a journalism degree too, so don't play that with me.
No, that's fantastic.
If you were gonna engage,
So a photojournalist that goes to, say, a war zone should be talking to people instead of just taking photos?
they do.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. We're discussing...
But we're not in
You
a
what?
war zone.
You're totally welcome to be here and take pictures.
I really appreciate that, considering 8 people have already tried to stop me.
Hey!
He has every right to be.
Hey, lady.
Yes,
Yes, he does.
I also have a right to not be surrounded by people and talk to and ask why I'm a traitor because I wear a mask. So that's a real fucking annoying. What?
Would you like a picture of this sign?
I already got it. Thank you.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 10 of a podcast, Odyssey. Today, I have a very cool and a really special guest, and it's going to be Kurtz Fausun. I won't tell you where he's from. He doesn't want me to tell anybody. He's incognito. Kurt, what's going on? Talk to us.
Oh, what's up, man? It's great to have a chance to talk to you.
Yeah.
And I am in Texas. I can tell you that, but I can't give much more than that.
No, I know. So this is our second opportunity we got to talk, and as I mentioned to you earlier, we had a whole podcast prior to this one. This is actually like episode 2 for us, because we talked for
That's true. Yeah.
for an hour. This is episode 2 for us. Episode 1 for everybody else. The topics that I listed today are kind of posted around that people had an idea. Didn't go into too much detail, but one of the things is that you're a filmmaker, photographer, and you have a lot of really interesting stuff that I've seen on your YouTube. I looked at your website, which is really put together. Did you put your website together?
Yeah, I did. I've got probably about 10 years experience doing web design, SEO, marketing, working in WordPress specifically. So I just kind of built it myself and just came up with it in my own vision, my own way.
Wow. From personal experience, editing has been really hard to do when it comes to maybe graphics.
Yeah.
Having tag graphics in there, so I know it's time consuming. I always cheat. I just take the videos and then I just kind of put the transitions together.
Yeah.
Transitions make it look like you know what you're doing, especially if you fade it in. You're like, dang, you tied that in. Yeah.
The right transitions are key, because if you do star wipe too much, then it's too 70s wedding. So you got to make sure you're doing the right thing. But yes, I totally understand.
Or how about the Star Wars one where they go to the side, the transition?
Oh yeah,
the side transition.
Yeah. We did a fan film for a Disney competition. My buddy Scott and I, we worked on that, and he's like, we got to have the side wipe. I was like, because I'm not a Star Wars fan. I don't like Star Wars. He is a huge Star Wars fan. He's in the 501st. He's a great guy, and so he He loves it. So he kind of like held my hand. I was like, "Is this how it's done?" He goes, "Yeah, this is how it's supposed to look." I'm like, "All right, good."
Yeah, so Star Wars films, because I'm a Star Wars fan. As you could tell, something like the Millennium Falcon up here.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I
Yeah,
mean, and I got a lightsaber around here in the back too. So they're notorious for the side transitions into their scenes, and every time I see that,
yeah.
I just think Star Wars, Star Wars, Star
And
Wars.
and then you got the John Williams soundtrack, and it's kind of that
Hmm.
flow, and I get that, and I dig it. It's just never clicked for me, but it's to
No,
each their own.
that's okay. I mean, there's plenty of things that are much more interesting and much more other things, to get into. Star Wars is not
Yeah.
the only thing. It's actually not very popular right now, but that's a whole another topic for another segment. I could talk to about 10 hours about Star Wars, but I'm not going to. I'm going to
Oh,
end
I
it right
got
there.
you.
And
I got about 20 minutes on Star Wars because I'm like, that's all I know. And like, talk to my friend Scott. He knows everything. He's the man.
I could have probably about 13 episodes with at least an hour and 30 minutes content on there.
Oh, I got you.
Elizabeth, thank you for the 50-star donation on there. Appreciate that. That's on the live feed because I get the interaction. So remember, I was telling you that on the podcast it's interaction. So we'll get some comments here and there. And if you're talking and
Sweet.
if I say something, and you're like, "What the hell is he talking about?" It's just because I'm reading, trying to read what the guys are saying.
For dessert.
Yeah. Okay, all right. How long have you been doing filmmaking and photography, or which one came first?
It was actually filmmaking that came first because very fast, brief story about my life. But I spent about 10 years as a professional painter, and then I decided to branch off. You get to the point where you take the brush and you kind of put it down. You just say, you know what? I've done everything, every song I can sing through this paint I've done, so I need to find another way to express myself. I intensely have to be creative. And so I was done with painting. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to get into music. So I played drums for years, but I decided to create my own music and start DJing and composing. And so I wrote an opera, and I ended up putting out about 13 albums of music. It's mostly experimental noise that there's nothing to it but just anger and intensity, and there's just a lot there. But there's also, like, I have human bones I acquired from a friend of mine.
Wow.
And the first
Is that legal?
couple of albums.
Can you own
asked
human
a lot of
bones?
questions. You asked a lot of questions.
Oh.
No. It was from a. It was actually there. It's a medical skeleton.
Cool.
It was from an antique store.
Medical
So it's a lot less romantic
medical
than it sounds.
skeleton. I like it. That's got your story already set. Medical skeleton. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, you don't see air quotes. So no, it is a medical skeleton. And so what I did was I kind of made these instruments out of them, and I composed the music and everything. Well, the reason I'm telling you that part of it is because once I started doing that, I was like, I need music videos. So I started doing these music videos. After I did the music videos and I felt I had accomplished what I needed with music, I was like, I can make a movie. I can do this. And so I made my first film, Peacock. And so after that, it kind of branched off and went out from there. And then I got into photography. But it was my research into looking for documentary subjects, because I'm always fascinated by people telling a story. And that's one of my main focuses. It's every single person. In fact, I did a documentary on this called Tell Me a Story. Every single person has one beautiful story to tell. It's either sad, it's funny, it's challenging, it's uncomfortable, but there's something there that someone has to tell, that someone else can listen to and go, oh my God, that happened?
Some people's lives are very interesting than others.
That's what I've discovered through film, and that's why I love doing. I don't know if I call myself a documentarian, but I just call myself an archivist, because my style specifically reflects not an intense need to convince the audience, but for people to make up their own minds. Because I'm firmly rooted in the concepts of free expression, First Amendment, free thought, and the ability for people to watch something they may disagree with, but they're going to go, wow, I see where you're coming from, and I get your point of view, even though I don't agree with you. You know,
Right,
it's
right.
the whole story of I don't agree with you, but I'll die in order for you to believe what you believe. Well, I respect that.
Yeah, that's very good point. Get to hear different people's perspective and understanding into whatever topic that is, and doing the interviews. You know, getting to know that person on a different
Right,
level, kind of interaction. Um,
right.
do you like? Oh, you know what? I forgot I was gonna ask this. What you said you were painting. What kind of paint? What kind of painter were you? Were you acrylic, oil? What was it?
Uh,
Colors?
I did water. I did water soluble oil. So it was a great combination between the longevity of oil with
Okay.
the playfulness of acrylic. So you could work with it in a way, but it had enough longevity that you didn't have to rush against the brush. You were able to create and let it process, and if you wanted to make a change, you could go back to it. It Acrylic seems like just as you get to one point of the painting, you start to move over a little bit, and all of a sudden you're like, that's dry. I'm like, but that's not what I want. And then oil, it's like, okay, I'll see
Takes
you in 3 weeks.
Yeah, it takes like 4 months for it to dry.
Yeah. And it's just like, well, dry. I'm trying to sell you, you know. And that's the great thing about water soluble oils. And I'm not sponsored by them, but Winsor Newton is who I used to use. Fantastic, fantastic paints, because it was that you got a couple of days, but then you'd wake up and it was dry. And it was
Mm.
just, and what I really have loved is I sold a lot of work for a long time, and I still have paintings. In fact, they're sitting in the corner right now. And at one point, I ended up painting 3 or 4 paintings. I would do about 3 or 4 paintings a week, and then at one point, I had 3 or 4 paintings on top of each painting. And as they've aged, they've started to crack and
Hmm.
give away. So the paintings have changed as the years have passed, and so I
Okay.
appreciate that.
Yeah, it's like it's what do you call it? It's wrinkles in time. It's getting older.
Perfect,
It's like a
perfect
it's
example, and
aging.
very good book.
Nice. What you just got tired of just painting and you said I'm gonna make a video, do your own editing. You mentioned
Hmm.
you mentioned the peacock. Is that the name of your song that you wrote? Is that on
Yeah,
YouTube?
well, I ended up doing an album called Peacock, and it was a double album and all my albums had themes and have themes. I mean, they're still out there to find, but every album has a theme, and it depends on what I was going through at the time. I mean, I did one album called Devastation Love Songs, and it was these jazz inspired love songs about the end of the world. It was post apocalyptic jazz music.
Hmm.
And I've had guest singers on there singing jazz, and it was a lot of fun. So I like to explore different themes at different times. And then with film, I listened to my own album and was just like, I need to make a film about this. So I ended up doing it. That was my first award. It was for, I'm not trying to peacock, pun intended,
uh,
but as I was speaking, I was thinking that, and I'm like, I gotta throw that out there. So, but no,
that was a good one, by the way. That was a good one. I like that. That was a good one.
I'll be
Yeah.
here all night, folks. So no, I was really proud of that. That was really the crystallization of a big desire in my life, and it was seeking a true muse, someone that I could find something that would inspire me in this intense way that I felt a companionship and a partnership with. And so that was my call to the universe, as you would say.
Love
And
it.
so I ended up making a film about it, and it was a brutal experience, and I'm not lying. I mean, it was 2 months of editing 12 hours a day, barely sleeping. I started hallucinating, and
Wow.
I was living in Adam Hatz in Deep Ellum, and I was in a basement loft that literally had 2 windows the size of shoeboxes, and I would stay down there all day and all night, and then when I needed a break, I would just walk Deep Ellum at night alone, and I would just clear my head and then go back and edit, and that was about 2 months of that. And then
That's
I
a lot.
started hallucinating. Yeah, I started hallucinating, and when I started seeing like Sixth Sense kind of, you remember Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze's Ghost? Have you seen
Absolutely,
that movie?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm old enough
The,
for that movie.
okay, thank God.
And I'm gonna pause you real quick because on the comment section, Elizabeth, which is my girlfriend,
Cool.
she said that you think that I can read. Now, I'm gonna put this out there. I don't read a lot of books. I haven't read a lot of books lately, just because I don't make the time to it. I get stuck on YouTube and videos for my information, as like people like to say, as
Oh,
like
I
a
get
social
that. I
media.
get that.
Yeah. And oh, she just made another comment. She said, "Not sure that I can read." Very funny. I read articles, news articles, but
I gotcha.
she just made a joke about it. I just thought that was kind of
Nice.
funny.
That's good.
She's
I like that.
she's.
That's not what I said.
That's not what you said. That's what you,
You're not even reading my comments right. Maybe you can't read.
oh yeah, she said maybe I can't read. Well, that's okay. I also made a joke about her earlier because she does streaming as well, but she's more on the gaming side, and I sent her a like on the gaming side, like a thumbs up for it, and she called me by my first name, and I on the comment section I was like, if you call me by my first name again, and I was like, I was like insinuating that she didn't say like thanks babe or thanks baby, you know.
Yeah,
But then I called her Liz, and I said thanks Liz on mine, and then she's making comments like, oh, it's okay for you to say it. So I messed up. I should have said babe, and now I just dug myself a hole. But okay. I got off topic from what I want to say. I just want to make sure that
that's all right.
I gave her
I'm
the
used to that.
attention that she is giving us on the stream here. So going
Very
back
cool.
going back to your passion, you spoke very passionately about when you made that film album. Sorry, not film album. I want to hear it. It's not on YouTube. I didn't see that on YouTube.
No, it's on Bandcamp. If you go to my website, on the top it'll say music, I believe, and yeah, Peacock is on there. It's a double album, and then when I did the film, I used actually all the music that I created. Excuse me, for the album, I ended up using in the film, and I shot a lot through Deep Ellum in Adam Hats. So I shot around there, in my loft, in the alleys. It was a very urban and what I like to say sort of earthy experience. But I like that. I like punk. I like raw, and I like that sense of I like filming without a permit. I like wondering if the cops are going to show up. It's just that thrills me. Like I get a kick out of that. Like my second film, Words of the Damned, I actually put in the credits thanking an apartment complex for not calling the police because they threatened us. They were like, "Get out, or we're calling the cops." So in there, I was like, "Hey, thanks guys for not calling the police, so I can make my movie."
Nice,
So, yeah,
nice.
I like that. I don't believe in permits. I don't believe in approval. I just think that it's about guerrilla filmmaking, and I think that if you're going to make something and you're not damaging property, I'm not saying like go in and take a baseball bat to a 7-Eleven so you can get this really great shot. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like you go into a restaurant, you prop up a camera and start filming, and if someone kicks you out, great, use it in the outtakes. It's a win.
Yeah.
It's always a win. So
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in guerrilla and raw filmmaking and
There's
dirty.
there's actually a lot of that in reality. Like when you look at TikTok or you look at anybody that's holding a phone that does that out in the open, or they're pranking somebody, that's kind of what it is in a sense, right? It's just going in the moment and then kind of just filming anywhere, that kind of aspect a little
I
bit.
think I see the difference I see in that is that when I see that on TikTok or when I see pranks and things like that, I see that as 90% of the time, I don't know the person's intent, I don't know their heart, but 99% of the time, I'm getting a sense that they're doing it for likes, shares. And I'm not saying that because you make a movie and you want people to see it, you're selling out or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, there's a genuine quality into sort of a guerrilla on the street. Fuck it, we got to get this shot. We don't
Right.
have permission, just do it. Verse, oh my God, I'm gonna get so many likes.
Right.
And I just, maybe I'm Gen X, so
No, well,
I'm at a different time period, but I don't like that at all.
no,
And
no.
I don't like pranks.
I understand. I guess what I'm getting at is that they're kind of like there's one extreme. So like for you, you do
Right.
it for the love, the passion of the feeling of when you're going out and filming. Of course, that when people are like that on social media and just kind of filming like interactions on their phone for reactions for people, they're doing it for likes or for the attention. And so that's
And you know
just
what?
that's
I'll
an
be
aspect
frank.
of it.
I'll be frank. That fucking sickens me.
Really?
That shit sickens me, because that to me, they're not doing anything great. They're not doing anything truly creative. Now, the kind of ideas that I'm going for and the kind of work I want to do, it's like Dustin Hoffman in Midnight Cowboy. Okay, he's what, the famous scene where he's walking down the street and he hits the taxi and he goes, "I'm walking here."
Yeah. Yeah.
That was totally improvised. They did not have permission to film, and New York is tyrannical about permits and rules and laws and unions, all this stuff to make sure that you're doing everything according to what needs to be done and according to the city. They said, fuck it, let's film it. And that's when a taxi driver literally almost hit Dustin Hoffman. And he punches the taxi. He's like, "I'm walking here." And the taxi driver's yelling at him.
It's like
First of all, if you've never been to New York, that's fucking New York. But second of all, he's walking by and they didn't have permission to do it, and they did it. And some of the greatest scenes in film have been done because they didn't have permission. And that to me is great. And I see a tremendous difference between that and someone going, "I'm going to throw an ice cream cone at this person and film their reaction, and it gets 100 million likes." Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but you're not doing anything. You're not telling a story. You're being reactive.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Of course. Absolutely. I agree with you on that. To me, that if that's something people want to do or they like, by all means, go for it. If I think it's funny, I have no problem. I laugh at stupid shit all the time. I probably have like some of those videos, but it's nothing that I would want to do personally. It's not something that I would get off to. I hate saying that sometimes, but
yeah,
I prefer the artsy. I prefer the, something with some meaning into it. I'm all about, metaphors in videos and, deep meanings, that you can't see. I like complexity, so that stuff like that is something I would like to watch or do if I could,
No, I get that. And that's the thing. It's like, if someone wants to have silly fun, great, rock and roll. But it's when people are puff their chests out and think that they're so special because they've done something that's a reaction. It's like, you're not making anything great. You're not doing anything quality.
Right, right.
Call me when you have meaning.
Right. That's when you're interested. I get it. Perfect. Let's talk about what you've been doing that I've seen on your videos, which is the protest that you've been in, the action. You've been you've been in it, and you've been filming and you've been interacting with the people there. Or I think most people are interacting with you because you're filming, correct?
They're filming with me because, they are interacting with me because, yes, I am filming. But to be frank, I don't have a desire to camouflage myself and try to mingle with the crowd. If there is like when I went to the Trump rally that took place in downtown Dallas near American Airlines Center, where Alex Jones showed up and Antifa Black Bloc showed up and immigrant rally showed up, and it all kind of slammed together like this mad party. I had no desire to look like, I didn't wear a MAGA hat. I didn't wear American flag shorts. I didn't wear a T-shirt that said "America, love it or leave it." I have no desire to fit in. And my second camera guy, Ivan, he's a dear brother. He's out there with me. He's seen the shit with me, and he's always right there with me when he can make it. And it's just fantastic to have him with me. And he's someone who likes to kind of work with the crowd and blend in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one that walks in and I'm like, and people ask me if I'm a terrorist because I wear a scarf. And I'm like, no, it's 110 degrees. This is Texas, and I burn very quickly. I get Scottish blood running through my veins. I burn like a flan on the sun. It's awful.
Oh man.
And so, yeah, I like going to protest, and it's the greatest feeling in the world to be surrounded with so much intensity, and you're filming it, and you're just waiting for something to happen.
You're just waiting for that part where it's at that tipping point, and it just. You almost had one with the on that I think you were talking about the same video where you had the people look like they were about to get into a fight. I'm trying to remember what
Which
groups
one?
they were. You know what? There was there was a few of them. I was just thinking of a specific one where it was like a Hispanic lady, and then it was like an Antifa group. I believe it was.
Yeah. Oh, yes, yeah. That was the Trump rally.
Yeah, I saw that one, and it looked like you had a one of the ladies was she was like, "What are y'all gonna do about it?" And then you had the police at the end or security come and break it up and try to spread the group. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
okay, it's intense."
Yeah, that was great. A big part of it is that you study the crowd, and because crowds become living organisms, and that's the most dangerous thing people forget. So you go in there to film something, and you want to cover a protest, you want to watch something, and you think that each of those people are good-natured individuals, and they're not. They become a single organism. And you see that at concerts. You see one person start jumping up and down. All of a sudden you see more and more. And then a pit starts. And then it becomes one large organism. And it absorbs the individual nature of those that are around it. And they consume it. And you don't know you're a part of it, but you are. If you're in the middle of it, you become one with this creature. And that creature has a tremendous amount of power. And it can be very scary if you're not careful. So the thing that I always try to do is to keep an eye on not what's obvious. It's not the loudest person. It's the quiet person that's moving around and circling just like the golden ratio. It's going inward and inward and inward, and that's where the explosion happens. So you're constantly watching for things that other people may not notice.
That's a very, very good description of a group as a living organism and not knowing. I didn't think of it like that at all. That's very, very good perspective for sure, without a doubt. I like it. I'm writing all this down right now. Living as a group.
I got you.
I'm gonna save this for whenever I have a discussion. I'm gonna use these lines.
That's a compliment. Thank you.
Right.
But yeah, you'll see people. You'll see a fight. It's just like prison. It's like being in Gen Pub. You're standing there. It's not the guys fighting that you got to watch out for. It's the guys in the corner with their hand behind their back as they're moving slowly, as they're walking over, and they're keeping an eye, and they'll start to look over and see one person, and they move and they zigzag. That fight is a distraction. What's that guy doing? Is his hands behind his back as he's coming in low? That's who you watch out for. It's not the fireworks. It's
the man behind the curtain.
Yeah. Exactly.
Nice.
That's what you watch out for.
And
that's the story I follow. I'll film the violence, but then I'm watching around looking for that trigger. What's going to happen? Where's that fuse? It's not the explosion, it's the fuse.
The people who are putting the fuel to the fire.
Bingo.
We got it. Nice. Nice. Do you think when you're filming that having a camera kind of protects you?
Yes, 100%. I never feel fear when I have a camera with me, ever. It's only afterwards that I'm like, holy shit, I could have been arrested or killed. It doesn't hit me.
Doesn't hit you.
Because you have that camera and it's a shield. You think it's a shield. And it's the same way that someone can watch a movie or play a video game and think that's real life, but there's a shield to it. There's a natural wall that you install between you and the world. You might be watching a tragic love story, and you can feel it, but at the same time, there's that protective glaze and gaze that covers you. And the same thing with film, and the same thing with the camera. My camera is sacred to me. I mean, it is a holy relic, and that sounds like an exaggeration.
No,
that sounds like a bit much. I literally sleep next to my camera. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's not because it's expensive, but it's because I literally sleep next to it, because that camera has kept me sane and calm in situations that I face that normally I'd be like, I need to get out of here. This is not worth it.
What kind of camera is it?
It's a Canon Rebel with a Sigma lens.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but I know what a Canon is. I know those are good cameras.
Well, no, it's a really good. It's fantastic. It's versatile. It's fun. The scope on my 308 rifle is a Nikon, but my camera that I shoot with is a Canon.
Nice. That's not weird at all to me. To be honest with you, you know, it's something that you value. Anything that I value, I know where it's at all times. If I notice I notice that if it was moved, I'm like, who moved this? What do you mean?
Exactly.
I know it was moved. It wasn't here. See, I just got my pretty mic right here, and now if I notice that it's not in the same spot that I left it, I'm like, hey, who moved it? Why did they touch it for? Why are they touching it for? I know it's not in the same spot. And then I hear like, oh my God. So I feel you.
I have a rule called the four corners, and the most important things that I need are in the four corners. So if I am staying in a place and with a room, all the most important things are in the four corners. So if there's smoke, lights are out, fire, I can literally crawl to the four corners, grab what I need, throw it on my back, and disappear. I mean, that's important to me.
Yeah, no, totally understand. On one of the protests that you were at, I'm wondering if it's the exact same one we just talked about, which was a Trump rally. But was that the one with the Alex Jones?
Yeah,
that was right.
That was a truly great experience, because I had before COVID, I had an art studio down in the design district in Dallas, and I was down there and everything like that. And of course, American Airlines Center is like 5 minutes away. So I'm like, okay, perfect. So I got there at like 7 a.m. and there's people lining up. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I periodically went back through the day. And then Ivan, my second camera guy, he's like, hey, I'm on my way. And it was like, 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I'm like, perfect. So he gets down there. We go around. We start interviewing people and filming them. And we're just walking around. We're like, okay. I filed for press credentials with the White House, and I was declined. And I'm like, well, it's CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, Red State, all these people. And I'm like, I'm a nobody. So I get it. So I'm not expecting that. But I was like, then we'll film outside.
Like you told me on our first podcast, we're not nobodies. Nobody's a nobody.
Well, valid point. But compared to Fox News, I'm not that level of my website's not getting that many hits.
That's okay. It's we do it for the desire, the passion of doing it,
Yeah.
And
no, that's true. That is true.
The rest will come I think as long as you stick to it. And from what I hear, what everybody says is, you stick with something you love, eventually you get there. We're not doing this for the money right now. The money just comes because you're doing it, you know, which would be
Yeah.
great.
I mean,
I'm all for it, but I'm okay right now for, that it's not pouring in. I enjoy it. I got to meet a great guy, you know, you're really cool. So now
thanks, man.
we made a friendship, you know,
Agreed.
you're where you're at. I'm where I'm at. We're actually in the same state. So you never know. I could be in that area and be like, hey man, I need you to show me the hot spots here, or
I'd be
vice
like, "Brother,
versa.
come over."
Or vice versa, So you never know.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm cool with that. Um, yeah, but we were down there and we were shooting, filming, and doing this whole thing, and we were walking away because I was like, because we both have a real good feel about crowds and the vibe of things, and I'm like, I don't think anything's gonna happen. I was like, I think we got the story, and we're walking away, and he was kind of way ahead of me as he was going up, and there were protesters and everything, and as we're walking, I heard this voice, and I was like, and it was right in front of American Airlines Center. I'm like, I know that voice. I turn around, there's this big tank, this
Literally a
armored,
tank.
literally, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm jealous. Like, fucking Alex Jones, I want to know your dealer because that is a fucking tank. And literally, this like armored truck is rolling down the street, and he is screaming about the deep state.
Guys, if you want to know what we're talking about, you need to go to his channel. It's I forget which video it is, but it is a Trump rally, and he's got
It's Trump rally. Yeah.
Trump rally. He's got good footage of Alex Jones in a tank in Dallas, right? This was Dallas.
Yeah, I was right in Dallas at the American Airlines Center.
That man
It
did
was a
not.
trip.
That man did not give a fuck that people were talking shit to him the whole time he was there.
Oh, even the cops walked up and they were like, What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm trying to tell the truth." And the cops are like, I mean, like, I'm like, okay, and even the Dallas cops are just like, okay, whatever, man, just do your thing.
That guy's wild.
He was wild, and then he got out. Antifa Black Bloc showed up, and then you had other protesters show up, and yeah, so that was a trip.
I like hearing that man talk. He is passionate about what he goes into, and he just goes in a tangent into it too. Like he just continues to talk. I enjoy watching his videos.
Well, we've got to protect America from gay frogs. I mean, it's the true threat that we face.
Did you say gay frogs?
Just before you think I'm an awful human being, just look up Alex Jones gay frogs and trust me.
Okay.
Especially the remix. The remix is the key.
Got you. I'm gonna look that up. That is something I'm going to do.
Yeah, you got to look up Alex Jones gay frogs remix. It's fantastic.
You had some pretty good footage of him while he was ranting through that whole time. Who else have you seen besides Alex? Have you seen anybody else besides Alex Jones during these times that you've filmed anything?
I was filming Shelley Luther at a Reopen Texas rally last year, and that was part of my Guns and Yoga documentary.
Oh, you know what? Oh, sorry, I'm gonna interrupt you. My buddy came on the comment. He said they're putting chemicals in the water that are turning frogs gay. You know what? I now that he says that, I kind of know what he's talking about because I have seen some videos based off of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't want you to think I was thinking that
No.
was true. No. It's really entertaining, and the remix is like the song makes me laugh so much because I'll put it on and I'm just like, I could dance to this at the club. This is really good. But yeah, I've met I tried to interview Shelley Luther, but she refused to contact me and meet with me. She was at a Reopen Texas rally in May of last year where she bragged about her white privilege and how proud she was, and she was going to use that to her advantage. She continuously attacked people, and it was very entertaining. And one of her personal security guards demanded that I take off my mask in the middle of a pandemic, to which I said, basically, fuck off. You're a rent-a-cop. I'm not being detained. You're not a police officer. So you have no right to tell me what to do. And so, yeah, it got really heated. It got pretty intense, I'm not going to lie. So, but yeah, I interviewed the Grand Dragon of the KKK of the Texas branch of Klan. That was fun. Yeah,
That's very interesting. Luckily, I think your skin pigmentation was allowed that to happen. Correct?
Well, I'm not. No, my contact that enabled that to happen said the only reason you're gonna meet him is because you're white, and I'm like, yay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I interviewed him and his two cohorts and his buddies sitting right there, one of them missing his teeth, said, I said to him, I was like, well, who's the enemy? And it's who you expect. And I'm not going to repeat those words because that's not what anyone needs to hear. Right. But then one of them goes, the media. And I'm wearing my press hat. I'm like, that's an hour and a half outside of Dallas that I had to off-road to get to this house.
Oh,
yeah, my
no.
favorite part was when, after the interview, we're all sitting around on the porch, and I'm just trying to play it cool. And he's got his 9mm. He's got his Beretta.
Oh,
and he's
God.
just holding it. And he hands it to me, and he goes, you want to take a look? And I was like, nah. He goes, you afraid of guns? I said, no, I've been shooting since I was 10. I got 3 of them at home. I'm fine with them. He goes, well, what's the problem? I was like, I don't want my fucking prince on the Grand Dragon of the Klan's fucking pistol. And he's like, ha, ha, ha. And he puts it away. I'm like, yeah.
He's like, smart man.
Yeah. I'm like, I ain't not touching that weapon. But yeah, so it's been interesting. I've interviewed alt-right Proud Boys, and that's the problem. But see, here's the thing. This is the problem. People think that because I interview people like this, I support them.
Got you.
And it's not true. I've been accused of being a member of Antifa. No. I've been accused of being a Nazi. No. Alt-right, Proud Boys, 3%ers, this, that, no. Nothing. I just want to... My motto is very simple. I want to film what people want to see, but they don't want to be. And that's my motto. No, I mean, I've had interviews that people, like the Klansman, CNN would pay $20,000 for what I had a chance to do. And I got it for free because I knew the right person who said, you need to tell this person's story. Why? Because they need to know what a piece of shit he is. He's already threatened my life. And this is one of the reasons that I'm not very open about where I am. All I can say is that I'm in the DFW area.
Yeah, you don't even have to tell me that. You know, that might be too much information. You might have to relocate.
Well, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
I like underground, above ground, and kind of lukewarm. So.
Nice. You know, that's a misconception people have against you, you know, for wanting to interview those type of people, because I agree. I think that's pretty interesting stuff. You know what I mean? That's not something that's norm, you know, and it's not a okay topic. It's in the, it's in that dark zone, as you would say, either, you know, it's in that area that nobody wants to touch, like you said. And I think that, you know, makes you stand out. That should make your work stand out, you know, or maybe blacklisted because of it. I don't know, you know.
No, I am blacklisted because of it, and I know that. But I don't fucking care, because I want to, like, I covered the straight pride rally in front of City Hall where there were 2 members of the straight pride movement and about 30 protesters. One of the protesters accused me of trying to promote them, and I'm like, well, I'm not trying to fucking promote anyone. This is an interesting story, exactly like the whole McKinney vaccine mandate issue
Mm-hmm.
that I was filming at, and it's just like, I don't have a fucking agenda. It's like, well, why are you here? I'm like, I'm sorry, 200 people standing outside a Baylor hospital in McKinney, Texas, screaming that this is Nuremberg, and having issues saying, wearing yellow stars, saying I'm not vaxxed. That's a really unique story.
Why what's the, and I'm ignorant to a lot of things. I learn as I go and I see it. I saw the yellow star. What is the yellow star? I saw, all I thought was the Star of David, but what is the meaning behind the yellow star?
Well, the yellow star was given to prisoners in death
Oh,
camps
okay.
in Nazi Germany
Hmm.
to signify that they were Jewish. And then you had the pink triangle to signify gay. And so there's all these sort of symbols that associate with it. So that's the association.
Okay,
Vax.
kind of what I figured. I didn't know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
other.
And that's something that someone would say, well, why are you doing that? Why are you photoing? I feel like I had to answer that question ad nauseum. And to me, that's the simple fact is, well, that's really interesting. It's different. I don't want to photograph bluebonnets. I want to photograph someone who thinks that Bill Gates wants them in a death camp. Okay.
It's a good story.
Well, you get it. Not a lot of people do.
Yeah.
So if someone sits there and I tell you, my greatest laugh fest is when people think that they're being given a vaccine because that's going to track them, and they post on Facebook with a mobile device that's Wi-Fi connected everywhere they go that tracks them through maps. Like, you could shoot a laser from space and hit them within a tenth of an inch, but you're worried about a vaccine. And I'm not pro or anti-vax. I'm not advocating anything.
Right.
I'm just saying, know your source, know your story. Like, if you're sitting here and you say, I don't feel the need to have that because I don't think that's important for me right now because I don't work in this field, I'm not immune compromised, I don't have previous medical conditions. Okay, got it. But if you sit here and you think that you're being tracked because of a vaccine while you post that using a phone with Wi-Fi on a social media network that listens to you, that's a little strange.
Yeah. I enjoy conspiracy theories way too much. So I could literally I could watch tons of videos about them. Anything from hollowed earth, flat earth to the vaccine, for population control, to the different types of alien species. I'll watch it all, and then I'll rewatch it just to make sure I didn't miss anything. So
I love that stuff, and I think my all-time, I actually joined a Facebook group for conspiracy theories, and it was supposed to be legitimate because I'm always tracking down stories.
I'm gonna have to join it.
Yeah, seriously. Like, I join groups, all these different types of groups, and I'm silent. I just sit there and I just want to know stories. I mean, I tried tracking down and infiltrating Nazi groups years ago, and I joined groups looking and trying to see where I could get a story, and nothing came from it. So I moved on.
You went to, I know you you went to college. Did you take filming in college?
No, I
Oh, yeah?
studied anthropology and advertising.
Got you. Okay, advertising. Have you thought about trying to maybe look for a job with like a news agency before?
If they take me,
If they take
I
you?
would love that. But I mean, I've had my work published with The Voice, the Dallas Observer, and I've done like the fire that took place in the Design District a couple of years ago when I was down there. I contacted the Dallas Observer and I was just like, I've got exclusive photos of the fire down here, and they're like, what fire? I'm like, come on down. I got
Nice.
photos. And so, yeah, that was like breaking news. Like,
So
I'd love to work in breaking news. Like, if there's a fire, if there's a shootout, if there's a gun battle, if there's a terrorist attack, I want to be the first one in there. I want to roll in. I'm not afraid.
there's a word for people who like that don't work for them, but they sell work to them.
Yeah.
What's that word? I can't think of it. Help me, help me. I'm gonna get
Contractor.
stuck. Contractor, yes. You're
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
contractor.
I'm fine with that. Send me in. Like, tell me what hill to take, and I'll do it as long as I can bring my camera instead of a gun.
Nice, nice. I think that would. I could see you doing something like that. You should all. I mean,
Yeah.
not that I, and my advice means anything, but if you haven't done it, I think that definitely fits in your personality to do it. Is-
I would love that. That's my dream, would be to go into like I want to join the firefighters running into a burning building. I want to be side by side with them, and while they're trying to put out the fire,
You're like
I've
the
got my
Nightcrawler, that movie that is it, the Nightcrawler
yes,
with Jake
Oh,
Gyllenhaal.
yes.
That's you,
That's me.
except without starting it, like you mentioned earlier, like taking the bat to the
Well,
window.
yeah, I don't want to start fires or cause crime. I just mean that, like,
Freelance.
Like-
Yes, Elizabeth, freelance. You're freelance. Contractor, freelance.
contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a fire, there's a burning building, there's an exploding car, there's a riot, there's gunfire. Send me in.
That's
I'll go.
you.
I'll be
You're
first
you're
in.
that guy. You're the camera guy for that.
I'm
See?
fine with that.
Oh yeah. Shoot. I can see it. And now we found your job. We just got to get you send your resume everywhere now. All over the state. Just
I'm
blast
fine.
it.
Hey, hire me.
Just blast it.
Hire me. I got no fear. I mean, I'm not fucking shitting you. I got
I
no
wonder
fear.
I wonder what kind of demand there is for that kind of job though. You think there's a ton of people trying to do that?
Well, the problem with something like that is it's not orchestrated like doing a film shoot or setting up a schedule or anything. No one says, hey, by the way, there's going to be a triple shooting at this nightclub in Deep Ellum tonight about 2. I need you down there at 1, scope the place out, get some preliminary shots, and then once it goes down, I need you to send the footage to me. There's no planning on something like that. But that's why I look for events that I think there's going to be an issue. That's why I like going to like vegans versus trophy hunters. Texas trophy hunters versus vegans. How the fuck could there not be something go down? I mean,
What?
give me
Why?
a fucking break. It was. I got the footage of my life that ended up being used in 3 court cases. I mean, I couldn't be happier with that.
So, my girlfriend, Elizabeth, on the comment section, she said she'd be elbows with you on that. But she said there's not enough people are fearless enough and got their hair screwed on tight enough to keep up with that type of work. So there is a demand. So you never know. There's something to consider if you haven't really considered it. Help.
I'm first of all, thank you to Elizabeth. I appreciate that. And second of all, like anyone sees this that's interested, hire me. I'll go there.
Right.
I don't care. I mean, I tried to be an embedded journalist with the U.S. military, and then I started reading the stipulations, and I was like, no. I mean, they own you.
Oh yeah.
Literally.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Like, even the footage you shoot, like, they own it. And I'm like, no. And I don't have the money to be thrown into a war zone and have a good guy that I can pay to show me the worst shit out there so I can photograph it.
Yeah.
But all I want is the worst shit out there. I want to be in the awful places that other reporters or other photographers or other filmmakers don't want to be. I want to see it. I don't know where to go anymore. If anyone knows that's hearing this, let me know. I will fly out there and film it and photograph it, and I want to be in the shit, piss, muck, and fuck. I just want to be in the mess of it.
in the fuck of it.
Yes,
the muck
I
and
do.
the fuck.
It's like, one of my favorite lines from Full Metal Jacket is when he says, "Is he going to be okay?" He's like, "Yes, as long as someone throws grenades at him for the rest of his life." I'm like, I might be an old generation extra, but you throw me into a field, I'm like, let's do it. I'm ready.
Elizabeth said, "So welcome to her life, because it's all nothing but shit."
Nice.
You know, she actually has a really good story for herself. She's done a lot for herself. I should just be interviewing her on one of my shows one day. I did actually, but we talked
Hell
about her
yeah, you
gaming.
should do that.
Yeah, she's done a lot. She's worked for, I don't know if I can say all these things if it's top secret, but she's had a job with NASA, and she worked for
Cool.
worked for Microsoft. You know, so very smart girl. You know, very smart girl.
Oh yeah.
I'm the
Very
lucky
cool.
guy here. You know, that's why I said all this right here, all this
Feeling.
computer and everything set up is possible by her because she helped put it all together. So, you
Very
know.
cool. Much respect.
And she said it was no secrets. Okay, so let me tell you what else she's done. She's um during during your time with filmmaking and photography, besides being in the mix of protests, you've also done interviews. I saw one interview. I don't know how many more you've done, but I've seen the one with the gentleman Nan. He goes by Nan, but that's
Yeah,
not his
yeah,
name.
Wood Rice.
But rice, uh-huh. So we dabbled a little bit into that when we talked the first time.
Yeah.
You mentioned in this podcast earlier about the experimental music. I Wikipedia'd him. I saw that that's his thing, right? He does experimental music. I
Right.
I heard it in the interview of, like, I guess one of his shows, his concerts, and it was just like, just for like 20 minutes, you know, some crazy stuff. I was waiting for it to start, and then it would be like, you know, voices coming out and stuff. And you know what? I've never heard that before, to be honest with you, because I live under a rock, and I have no problem telling people I don't know anything. I live under a rock, so it's not always new to me. I don't pretend to know everything about anything. You know, I rather just say I don't know it and learn it, and if I know about it, great. Then I'll just like, oh yes, I know something about it. You know, I've never
Right.
heard that before. I was like, oh okay, so I started reading about him and himself. And did you get that experimental music from him, like the idea for it, or?
I mean, he had. I mean, there's definitely an influence, but I wouldn't say I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. Just like Coppola and The Godfather is just like a tremendous amount of respect for him, and meeting him, interviewing him, going out to dinner, talking to him, incredible guy. I mean, I had so much fun. I couldn't believe. I was like, oh my god, I'm meeting one of my heroes.
Nice.
As a, I like to get influences from unusual or unexpected places. So I might sit there, and I'll give you an example. Um, one of what I wrote a song once based on footsteps mingled with hand slaps. And that was inspired by a young girl that I saw in a mall one day at North Park Mall. And she had on headphones, and she was going between two stores, and she was slapping the doors. But as she just back and forth and back and forth, and she was just, her head was down, she was nodding. And I was listening, I was watching her, and I'm like, what is she doing? And as she got close, she would walk zigzagging down the mall. And as she walked by, she goes, na 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 na. So she's repeating Beethoven
Mm-hmm.
while she's slapping the sounds with her feet, and all this the mixing together. And so I take
Hmm.
that noise and blend it together to create music. So in a way, I sort of dip my hand into the pond of Boyd Rice, and I get inspired by him. But he wasn't the sole motivation. It can sometimes be a child singing Beethoven, and it can be the sound of a stone stumbling down the stairs as being some obscure beat. So that's what I love about noise music. It's sort of like dark jazz, and not in the way that, you know, Thelonious Monk playing a sweet, sad ballad,
Huh.
but sort of this tragic mix of sound and obscure
Hmm.
noise.
You're a very passionate man. I could just see it when you
Sometimes
talk.
to a fault, my friend.
Dark jazz. Yep. Dark jazz. I don't think I've ever heard that term before. Dark jazz. That's
I don't
another.
think I've ever said that term.
I'm gonna write that down. Got all these
Yeah,
good
use that
ideas.
term.
Dark jazz.
Dark jazz. That's what life is. It's the sound of the universe, and it mingles together and explodes and comes together, and you see a neutron star collapsing, and you see the universe expanding, and everything blows up and comes together, and all of a sudden it fades out into dust, this silent dust into the universe, and then suddenly you realize that's what jazz is. It's the notes you don't hear. It's the music and the compilation of the universe. It blends together into something fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. It's a very good way to put it. She said the genre name would make it more acceptable for sure. Instead
Or
of
worse, I don't know. Sometimes I take a step and it's suddenly inappropriate.
someone was gonna say experimental music, dark jazz. Huh, that sounds interesting. Maybe, maybe that's what she's getting at.
Possibly, yeah.
But she said, but it's definitely made people assume people are pretentious for liking experimental music, and maybe dark jazz wouldn't entice that.
Well, that's a valid point. I mean,
I listen only to experimental music. I don't know if you've heard of that before.
oh God, don't do that.
And if you
Hey,
haven't,
to
then
me,
get at me when you do.
yeah. I mean, what is experimental music? I mean, it's like, what is punk? I mean, Beethoven was punk. Uh, you know, um, Eric Clapton was punk in a way when you think about it. When you listen to certain types of music, Peter Gabriel and Genesis. Oh my God, listen to that. That's fucking punk. That's experimental noise. That's trippy music. That's out of this world. So those are just labels.
Of
It's a
course.
rose by any other name.
Of course. All those groups that you listed, I like, by the way.
Nice.
All those genres.
Nice.
I know you said you like punk rock music. I liked punk rock music. And you know what I was going to do that I totally forgot? I was going to wear my punk rock jacket. I was going to wear it. Oh, I'm so mad that I didn't wear it.
What I made you?
Yeah.
That's all right.
I have a new one.
I'm
See,
just wearing a plain black shirt.
I had one that was made like a year, like, how long has it been? A year
I
ago?
made it 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago. But
Nice.
it's got my studs on it, my buttons, and I was actually going to come onto the show. And then when I went, brought up the camera and everything, I wanted you to see it and be like, "Oh, you got the jacket on." And I forgot about the idea. I thought about it a couple of days ago. I just forgot. I'm so upset with myself. God dang it.
Oh, it's all right.
We'll save it for another one. We'll have another one. We'll save it for that one.
Hey, I'm good with that. It's about spirit. It's not about fashion always. It's
Yeah.
you can be in a suit and still be punk rock just because of the ideals of it. I mean, that's to me the most versatile thing about punk music that I love so much is the fact that you can be in a 3-piece suit with a cravat and a vest and just stand here and be dressed to the nines like you're in Victorian England, and your mindset, you've got that punk mentality, and that to me is the beautiful thing about it. It's not about fashion or gutter punk or street punk or this punk or that punk. To me, it's just about, let's just fucking make something.
Mm-hmm. Just the idea, the whole, not what is it called? Conform to society standards.
Yeah, exactly. But what even is that? What is conforming to society standards? Is it paying your bills?
Going to college, get a degree, work a 9 to 5.
But what if you use that 9
pay
to
your
5?
taxes.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I mean, that's where it's a complex beast, because if you're sitting there and you say, well, you're a sellout because you work a 9 to 5. Well, yeah, but that 9 to 5 enables me to work on my passion projects.
Absolutely.
Well, you sold out because you went to college. It's like, yeah, but with that, it gave me enough pull and connection to get into and infiltrate things that I need to do to tell the real story. So it's really the motive of the person's heart and their end goal. You know, if your goal is I want to work this job so I can make a lot of money, respect. That's your choice. Cool.
Yeah.
That's great. I've made choices in my life, and I deliberately did not choose that path because I wanted to choose a more artistic path. I've paid for it, and I'm not some martyr. I don't deserve some crown or some candle, but at the same time, that was my choice. So it's
Absolutely.
all a decision.
When it comes to me, my ideas have surpassed any uh, label of what you should have. So now, as
Right.
much as I work, am doing my own thing, and I'm exploring, you know, different ideas, meeting different people,
Right.
and having coming, coming into myself with what I start to what do I really believe in. We talked a little bit about religion, kind of dabbled into it, and as you get older, you realize some of the things that you were as a young person kind of stuck on, like with labels or
Yeah.
like with punk, like this and that and sort of thing. You kind of, I don't want to say grow out of it, but you grow into a new level, a new level of thinking when it comes to these things. That your passions start
Well, no,
to resonate more with certain things, and that's just
it's
perspective for me.
no, I get that. That's very true. I mean, I'm a Christian, and I went through a very long road for that. And I grew up in a fundamentalist home where the idea of Christianity was being punched in the head with holy oil and demanding to be speaking in tongues and falling on the ground and having an epileptic seizure, and that's how you show your faith. And I grew up in a home with a tremendous amount of judgment. And when you would
It
see
wouldn't be
people,
Christian if it wasn't.
well, it depends on the Christianity, but
Yeah.
yes, I mean, I get that. And as I got older, I disappeared from that because I was like, no, that's not what this is about. And it's like I always try to say, it's like when my concept of Christ is not the Aryan, blonde hair, blue eyed gun rally Christ. It's the brown skinned Jewish socialist, homeless advocate for the poor that is beating the shit out of bankers. That's cool. Why was I not told about this when I was a kid? So
Yeah.
that's the big difference for me. It's almost like a social movement that I think could do a tremendous amount of good. And it's like the most sacred commandment. Don't be a dick. Just
Yeah.
be
Right.
cool. Like that to me is the most important thing. It's just like no judgment. I mean, you know,
No,
it's
of
just
course.
what you feel is what you feel.
I think that's very important as to your personal development as as a person to come to the conclusion of these ideas that you have of what you believe. A lot of people will just listen to what they're told and follow that.
Yeah.
God bless. Some people I know, even some family members, are dead set on a specific belief, and if they hear anything that sounds logical that does not the same, they'll just no, no, and then they get stuck on that. If
Yeah.
and it is what it is. It's the society evolves and it changes, and a lot of the older crowd, the way they were raised and grew up, are fixated onto what they learned as a child, and even in their late 20s to the 30s, even to the 40s, have been with that idea for a long time, where it wasn't the norm to question it, because now everything's changed. You've got the media that
Right.
and the internet that's blown up since 99, when internet, or the 90s when the internet came out, and it's changed the world. But anybody before that had their ideas growing up, and there was really nothing to cause them to question it, because there was no source other than their local news, or world news at the time, to
Right.
that. So it's definitely changed, and I appreciate being in this generation, of being
Yeah.
able to being young enough to be able to get into this social media outlet and get the information from all around the world that comes in. We're lucky. We're part of it, I think.
I agree, but I think it's a double-edged sword, and that's something that is quite concerning. And the biggest concern that I have is the fact that too much information doesn't equate intelligence or knowledge, and you have to filter that. So before, maybe you had two or three pieces of information, you had to figure it out. Now you have 10,000. You know, to go back to vaccines.
You're absolutely right.
To go back to the vaccine issue, it's the same thing. It's just like before, it was like, here is, you go to your doctor and the doctor says, here's the report that I have received from the CDC explaining why this is a good idea. And you go, okay, this is a good point. And nowadays, you have people all the way from this has to happen, all the way to lizard people want to track you to put you into death camps so that Bill Gates can harvest your organs. What did I just see happen? I mean, it's complex. I mean, there's almost an argument to go back to the sort of traditionalism of, why knowledge and education sometimes is a scary thing.
You are absolutely right.
Too much can lead to a downfall. I mean, give them bread and the gladiators, and they'll never revolt.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I definitely agree with you on that as well. So you're right. It's a double-edged sword, for sure.
Yeah.
Very good point. You know what? I was going to also ask you on your interviews, because we talked about non, and then I got into the experimental side, and then doing your interviews, you've done the music videos, you've done the editing and being on documentary side of editing and video recording. You also do photography. We didn't even touch too much into that. We talked about the art side of it, but we didn't talk about your photography. So is that something that you do more of right now that you're doing besides filming?
I'm really focusing more on, I do now after leaving Dallas and being outside of it, still in the DFW area, but still moving outside of it, I found a number of abandoned places that I've really enjoyed capturing. So that comes with its own risk in different ways, but I like distancing myself from people more.
Okay.
And it enables me to be stronger to deal with hostilities and dealing with people at protests. So before, I liked taking photographs of people. Now I like to take photographs of abandoned buildings. It's almost a meditative state. It's a relaxation.
It's more this is more for you then.
Yeah, that's very fair to say. I mean, I greatly enjoy being alone in a building that has so much history. And you can stand there and you start to think about things, and you think about the lives that were there and the people that passed through it that are probably all dead. And you think about what they experienced and what they saw. And you have a moment to subtly capture their footprints. And they may not be remembered through my photographs, but I can appreciate their presence and their energy and their essence. And that to me is, it's a meditation. It's like a temple. And I've already photographed in the place that I'm located right now. I've already photographed buildings that have been torn down and are ready for location. Now they're going to, build homes with, 2.5 kids and families and everything like that. But I captured that moment, and there's photographs I have now that will never be used again.
Wow.
And I like that. I like to know that. I like to know that I can take a picture of something that will never be seen again.
Wow. Wow, nicely put. Do you sell any of that work that you normally for your photography?
Only if someone would buy it.
Only if
Nobody
someone.
wants to buy it.
It's more personal, as you said.
Yeah, it's more personal. I mean, I have no objection to selling, but nobody wants to buy a home, a photograph of a home with a dead coyote in front that's been pecked on by vultures, and walls coming down, and foreclosure notifications from 40 years ago.
Yeah, I hear you.
That you don't put that in your living room. You don't put that in your bedroom as some romantic gesture to
No.
enhance the mood of the lover. You keep that, and so I do it for myself. If no one ever sees a single thing I ever do again, I don't fucking care, to be frank, because I, I was there. Like,
Yeah.
there's things I've seen that no one will ever see,
You know,
and I
there's a
experienced it.
there's a lot of artists who were never famous when they were alive. You might be one of those guys where they put your work together after it's found. You never know. You could be somebody after you're gone.
Well,
Somebody
I'm fine
really,
with that.
really good. You're somebody
I
now, alive. But I mean, there's people, that their work was never looked at before until after they pass, and now they're some famous people. What's up, Patrick? Thanks for commenting. Miguel, what's up, buddy? Um, but you definitely have something that nobody else. Well, yeah, kind of nobody else has because it's you. It's personal, you know.
Yeah.
And I think I'm a thinker. Uh, I think that having them all together, you have the opportunity to make like a book or a life story out of it, and that's gonna be your your gold right there. That is you putting it together. Everything you're doing is a collage of everything that you got, and I think that's awesome. It's a lot.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
It's a lot of stuff that people wish they could do that you are able to do, and you have talent to do it. You have an eye for it. You got the filmmaking. Am I making you blush? I would ask you if you're red. But I can't see if you're red because the whole thing is red. But you know you know
Well, no, you can't see if I'm blushing, but
no, no.
um, no,
The room is
no,
blushing.
I appreciate that. I mean, it's just, you know, it's sort of these concept of the eternal recurrence, like Nietzsche talked about, where, if you face something over and over again and it never comes about, but what matters is that you experienced it. So that matters to me.
Wow.
And
Yep.
so, I'll write for the drawer, and that's what I've started doing in my life because privacy is very important to me recently. Before I was very open and very public. In fact, anyone could find me at any time. But due to circumstances and because of experiences in my life, as in the past few years, I have to be very private and sort of emerge, and I have to be very selective. And so, because of that, if I end up writing for the drawer and leaving things behind and to be discovered later, well, then they're discovered later. And if not, I experienced it. And that's what matters to me.
You have a great story. Good story to
Oh,
put together. I
thanks.
could I know you're a writer. I can tell you have what it takes to be a writer. You got
I've
it.
written a few novels, so yeah.
Yeah, see, I know. I see it.
Yeah,
You're an artist. You are a true artist.
yeah,
You've
that's right.
got it. You just got to you got to be able to see that other people can see it as well. We got to get you. Well, you don't care if you're exposed. That's the thing. But if you were out there, you would be more than what you think you have because you got a gift. Definitely have a
Well,
gift.
thank you. I appreciate that.
And
I
I'm
mean,
very glad you came on the show. Honestly, I was very impressed with what I saw, and that's what I was like, yes, gonna get this guy. This guy's coming.
well, no, I appreciate you contacting me and having me on the show, and I love this show. This is legit. This is badass, and I'm not. I certainly would never poo-poo a job where I got to do what I love and get paid for it, and and have it be a passion that I could actually be compensated with. But I guess it really depends. I mean, I was in music for years, and people were like, I spoke to so many musicians who were like, oh, if I could get a record contract, that'd be a dream come true. I'm like, well, if someone's doing that, then you're a slave. So what's that going to be? I mean, I'd rather work in a warehouse for the rest of my life and take photos and capture things that I found significant than to get something with a $50,000, $100,000 contract for 1 year, but I had to do it according to what they wanted. I'd rather just do it on my own with no master.
In the words of Frank Sinatra, I did it my way.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I don't care. If I die poor and lost, then fine. But there's things that I've seen that I've captured, and there's things I've seen that I didn't capture, but I experienced them in life, and that gave me tremendous meaning. So
Well,
I've lived a good life.
well, if that happens, we need to make sure we find your work and secure your gospel and share it to the world.
Well, I appreciate that. I have actually buried my footage in certain locations around DFW. You think I'm kidding?
Oh,
It's actually I
nice.
actually have a documentary. You don't believe me, but I have a documentary that if I were to release, I would be sued into oblivion because
Wow.
of the subject matter. And I wouldn't be killed, but I would be sued into oblivion. And because of it's not illegal by any means, but there's subject matter. It would literally destroy
Reputation.
entire families. What's that?
Reputation. Someone's reputation.
More than that.
Mm.
Entire families would be torn apart if I released the documentary
Wow.
I have in my possession. Upon my death, it's to be released. So if someone is trying to get at me, just to let you know.
Well, I'll be. You know what? I was gonna say I'll be more than happy to share all that stuff. But I don't know if I want to put a red dot on my head yet.
You don't want to do that. Trust me.
Well, you keep your locations, guys. If you ever see this video and I'm not a part of it. We're doing the podcast about this. That's really great. That's awesome. You got so much good stuff, and then you even have to hide it.
Yeah.
Juicy stuff. Juicy stuff.
I do have juicy stuff, yeah. I actually have a couple of things that, yeah.
Well, you know what? That's good, and we can definitely save that for another time. So I'm assuming, the way things are, we'll have you back on the show. What do you think about that?
I'd
You
love
come
it.
back. Awesome, man. We'll set it up for another time, and we'll have considered our third episode when we get into it, and we'll come up with a topic. Maybe we'll brainstorm something we could talk about. You know
I'm good.
that correlates with what we've already talked about. You'll be the filmmaker, photographer, expert on the scene. So we'll have
You know what?
then.
I'll throw an idea out there right now for next time.
Uh,
Let's bring up samples of photography and film, and let's talk about why it's good, why it's bad. People can take my opinion, your opinion, other people's opinion. They can chime in. They can say what they think, and we'll discuss film and photography, and we'll come up with ideas and be like, hey, what do you think of this?
nice. I like it. I like it.
Good.
So I have to figure out a way, which I can do. We can just flash them on the screen. You could put the picture. I'll put it like here in the center of it, and then I'll just click it to the next one. Click it to the next
Perfect.
one. I can make that happen. I can do that. That's something I can do.
Sounds good to me.
We are at an hour and 26 minutes. So this is the time that I kind of want to already conclude this podcast. I had a great time
Cool.
talking about it. It
Me
was
too, bud.
just as equally as fun as the first time. So that's positive,
Ditto.
which means that our third encounter will be equally as entertaining. I'm very sure. And then with that idea, throwing it in there, mixing it up, spicing it up, it'll work out. Do you have
I love
any closing statements that you want to give off? Because once you whatever you say here, oh shoot, I hit my mic. My bad. I post these
I'm
later
not
on
laughing
into.
at you.
No, it's okay.
not
That's
laughing at
that's
you.
why I'm here.
I
I'm the
thought
guy. I'm the guy you laugh at. That's why I'm here. This is me.
No. I'm laughing because I've done that myself. Like, action, bam, oh, I hit the fucking mic. Sorry, one retake. Everyone spot, location, go.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anything you want to say
I
before we go?
read banned books.
Read what books?
Banned books.
Banned books. Banned books. Okay. All
Banned
right.
books, banned film. Anything that any government has ever said don't read or watch, there's a reason why they don't want you to. So
Really?
watch it, read it. The most dangerous thing in this world is an educated mind. So read books, not the obvious stuff. I'm talking about the stuff that's obscure. And you can read 1984, Brave New World, Of Mice and Men, the Bible. That's been banned. Anything you want, that's fine. But go out there and read banned books, watch banned cinema, watch films that people don't want you to see. And you sit, now I'm not talking about illegal. I'm talking about stuff that, like, The Wicker Man, that was banned in the UK for years, or Straw Dogs with Dustin Hoffman, another amazing film. Have you seen Straw Dogs?
I don't think I have seen Straw Dogs.
Okay, look up Straw Dogs. Amazing film. It was banned in the UK. Don't quote me. I know we're being filmed, but don't quote me. I think 30 years it was banned. It's an exceptional film, and anything banned is not for illegal reasons, but because of moral reasons, or because of these ethical reasons, or because of it's an assault and something. Watch it, because there's gonna be a lesson. There's gonna be a gem.
We'll have to talk about movies then too.
Oh yeah.
Different movies.
Hell yeah.
I'll tell you next time. I'll tell you my favorite movies. Maybe we'll go top 10, and you can tell me yours.
Love it. I
And
got
then-
some controversial ones. They're good. They're good.
Oh, you probably got some non-mainstream films that you like. Mine's are Walt Disney and Fox and all kinds of movies,
Lion King?
fluffy movies.
Hey, original Lion King. I'm sorry, but yeah. Scar. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's an amazing film.
Awesome.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons, a Scar. Yeah, win.
Great. We've already got 2 things for the next time we talk then. All right. Well, I'm going to cut it short here. We're good to go. Again, appreciate you on the show. I'm going to close the ending screen, and we're good. See y'all later, guys. Thanks for everybody that showed up, and I'll hit you up later.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian.
Later.